At the beginning of September, the Scottish Government launched its consultation on redefining marriage to include same-sex relationships and to allow religious ceremonies for civil partnerships. The consultation document, which I have here, it is split up into two sections to reflect these two different issues. The date for final responses and submissions to the consultation is the 9th of December, so we'd urge you to get forward to put forward your response by that date. One of the interesting aspects of the consultation is that the Scottish Government makes its view on the issues clear at the outset. In the ministerial forward, right here, it says that we tend towards the view that religious ceremonies for civil partnerships should no longer be prohibited and that same-sex marriage should be introduced. You might remember the verse in Jeremiah 29 verse 7. It says, "Seek the peace and the prosperity of the city to which I have called you into exile. Pray to the Lord for it, because if it prospers, you too will prosper." And I think that verse is really critical to why we as Christians must be praying and must be speaking with grace and truth into this issue and many other issues that face our society. We believe that marriage is something that is good for our society, that is good for the well-being, for the peace and the prosperity of our nation. You know, as Christians, we believe that it is a God-ordained institution between one man to one woman for life. You know, it's for the rearing of children in a stable environment. We think it's a cornerstone of our society. It's embedded in history and cultures all around the world. We also believe that marriage is the primary setting for children to be raised, to be produced by a committed father and mother. You know, there's so much evidence that points to the benefits of marriage for the raising of children, you know, in terms of emotional security, educational achievement, health, and a number of other areas. And it's quite easy to find those statistics and find that evidence. So we believe that marriage is the best environment for children to be brought up. It's also a reality that if marriage is redefined by the government, it will be set as standard by other public bodies and will have significant implications across society, for example in schools and what children will be taught in schools. It's also important to understand that in supporting marriage, we are not removing the rights from anyone. You know, redefining marriage is not an issue of equality or fairness. You know, those who want to see it redefined speak in terms of equal marriage. But it's quite clear that homosexual couples already have the rights of a marriage available through civil partnerships, and the Scottish Government consultation actually makes that really clear. It's also important to note that the number of civil partnerships in Scotland has continued to drop every year since its introduction in 2005. So last year only 465 same-sex couples decided to have a civil partnership, and it's estimated that a small minority of those who would consider a civil partnership would choose instead to get married. And also, I think finally what we have been hearing from a number of different church ministers is ultimately the impact that this would have on them, those who conduct marriage ceremonies. At the consultation meetings that we held with the Scottish Government, many church ministers said that their position as those who conduct marriage ceremonies would become untenable. And while the Scottish Government have promised that no minister or church will be forced to participate, we really fear that this could be undermined by the Scottish courts, who might decide this and make decisions over it in the future, or it might be undermined by future equality law. The Evangelical Alliance, amongst other groups, have publicly criticised the Scottish Government's intention to redefine and what we see as devaluing marriage. We have called on them already to maintain the established societal definition of marriage, which we believe has stood the test of time. The EA has also been involved in a number of other ways. We have organised 2 consultation meetings with the Scottish Government and church leaders, providing a space for dialogue. We've also been working with a number of other Christian groups, including CARE, the Christian Institute, the Catholic Church in Scotland. We've been meeting with them regularly to provide an opportunity that as a wider Christian community we can speak out in unity on this issue, and we will continue to do so. There are a number of different resources available. The Evangelical Alliance have produced a briefing which we have sent to all our members, and it's also available online. But there are a number of other organisations who have produced resources. CARE, for example, have produced this really great booklet. You can get in touch with them and they will send you one. It just gives you a really easy and simple way to understand the issue and outline some of the key arguments. They've also produced a more in-depth briefing, and this is available on request if you get in touch with the CARE office. But other organisations such as Christian Institute have produced resources as well. Solace, the director is David Robertson, they have already submitted their response, and I would encourage Christians and church leaders to look at the response, because all of these will help you as you formulate your response to the consultation. I would also say that church leaders should make responses on behalf of their church if they feel comfortable to do so, but that they should also encourage members within their churches to make individual responses. We think it's vitally important that the Scottish Government hears the view of the evangelical community across Scotland and hears that in a coherent and united manner, and so we would encourage organisations and churches and individuals to write responses, and to do that in a way that displays the values of grace and of truth.